Shall we jump in?
I think we shall.
I'll let you go ahead and let's start at Atlanta because I said so.
Okay.
Atlanta injury crisis. In the last week, Atlanta United have lost Josef Martinez, Rossetto, and Ozzie Alonso to long-term and possibly for some career-ending injuries. And I will never let you live down the fact that you will be the team that caused Ozzie Alonso to end his career. You will never live that down, and I hate you for it.
He's not going to end his career. He's got this. He's coming back.
Anyways, you add that on top of the Araujo injury and the Hyndman injury from last year, you're looking at 5 potential starters who are now sitting on the bench. Initial reactions for you as an Atlanta fan?
I'm very much used to this because, and I'm sure as you can speak to this as well, the two of us being Mets fans, we are used to injuries from our team every single season at an extraordinary rate. So seeing all these guys get hurt, it sucks. The good thing is Atlanta has some good guys that can rotate in. They're certainly not going to be able to keep the pace at the top of the East. I wouldn't expect it. If they did, it would be a masterclass from Pineda. But I would expect that they're going to fall in form a bit. I think as long as they can kind of maintain it and try their best to stay within the in and around the playoff picture, I think that would be ideal for them. And then when guys like Josef come back, Araujo come back, you rotate them back in. Please take your time with them. Don't need them getting injured again. We will talk more about rushing players in back after injuries a little bit later on. But I think Atlanta really, spoiler alert. But I think Atlanta really needs to just kind of fill the holes in temporarily and just try to keep themselves within the playoff hunt. But yeah, these injuries are starting to take a toll on the team, I think.
Yeah, it's not like this is, Dylan Casternia is also out for probably the season, as well as Machop Chol on kind of long term, and he wasn't going to play much anyway this year. But you're looking at 5 people who probably would be in the starting 11 this weekend if completely healthy, right? Which is a massive, massive issue. You're now turning to, Ozzie was great, but it's not like you don't have the talent at defensive mid to fill that spot. Your number 8 is now just going to be Marcelino Moreno. You'll probably put Sejdic or Sosa a little bit higher as well. Thiago Almada playing more attacking as well. But the big worry for me is your striker position. Dom Dwyer is okay. Tyler Wolff has shown some promise. Jackson Conway at Atlanta too looked good. But you saw what happened when Josef tore his ACL the first time. They didn't make the playoffs. They missed, right?
Yep.
That is not there. There is absolutely a correlation there. This team does not perform well without Josef Martinez. That's just the way it is. When Miggy left, they were okay. When PT, South American Player of the Year, PT Martinez left, they were okay. When Josef left, they were anemic. This is a massive issue for the next 6 to 8 weeks, where they have a lot of games, by the way. This isn't like let's see, what are their fixtures over the next 6 weeks? Let's take a quick look.
While you do that, the one thing I will give maybe the benefit of the doubt in this case is the team would be under most likely a full season of Pineda as opposed to being under Hines, who was just a train wreck with this team. So I think hopefully that can improve things over last season without Josef. I also hope that some guys like Moreno now have a bit more time to have settled into the team. Same thing with Santi Sosa, Alan Franco in the back line. So I kind of hope that things are going to be better than they were last season. I still don't think that they're going to be great, though, obviously.
Sure. And then you look at the last couple of or the next couple games. You got Miami coming off a hat trick performance by Leo Campagna. You got Montreal coming off a win against future MLS Cup champions New York Red Bull. Chicago with future MLS Cup or MLS Golden Boot winner Kasper Shabilko. Supporter Shield and points records holder New England. Nashville, Columbus, and Miami again. And that's kind of takes you right about to your 2-month mark, and then you got Toronto away.
Honestly, that schedule doesn't sound terrible. I think that's
right, but you also lost to Charlotte, barely beat EC,
true.
drew Montreal, got smacked by Colorado. I think what you have going for you is that a lot of those games are home. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4 home, 1, 2, 3, and maybe a fourth away. So it's pretty even, but you'll have the home city crowd behind you. Definitely something to watch for sure. My question for you: how badly does this hurt Atlanta's? Like, if you were to change your prediction on them right now, would you change it from where you had them?
Yeah, I'd probably slide them down a bit. I think in the overall picture, it's not going to change it, in my opinion. I still think they get into the playoffs, but I do think that this will knock them down probably a few spots because I think they're going to hit a rougher stretch here coming up. And I think that form will probably take them out of the picture of finishing top 3. I still think that they'll be able to bounce back and pretty comfortably make the playoffs just as a maybe like middle, like 4 or 5 seed, maybe 6 is what I'm thinking in terms of range. Because I believe Arujo should be coming back before Yosef, if I remember that correctly.
You would hope.
Yeah.
Barring any
so
setback, right?
yeah, barring any setbacks. So if that's the case, I think that would be a massive help. I think a lot of people had high expectations for him this year. So if he comes back, I think that would be a huge boost for the team. And hopefully enough with that schedule that they can maintain their, a relatively good position in the table until Yosef comes back. And then you can kind of, I think as great as Ozzy Alonso is as a player on this team, I feel like we could make it without him. We could fill that hole much easier than we could like an Arujo or Yosef. So I think if we can steady the ship as long as those two can get back, that would be pretty massive.
Who do you want to see fill the roles of the players who are out as a Atlanta United fan?
Why you put quotes on it? Are you trying to say I'm not a fan?
I'm trying to say that if Atlanta United go bad for more than 2 years, that 35% of your fan base is going to leave, but whatever.
Well, I'll still be there. So that's what matters the most.
Respect.
Yes. I think Dom Dwyer is going to get a majority of the starts, whether I agree with that or not. I think personally, I thought I remembered Atlanta was rumored to be signing some striker. Don't remember who it was, and I don't remember if he's coming in maybe in the summer. There is someone on roster, Ronaldo Cisneros. I think that might have been him.
Yes, I do remember that name.
I'm checking right now just to see because. Okay, so I think he's supposed to join the team. I don't think he would jump in right away. I think obviously they take their time with kind of getting him comfortable with the league and kind of transitioning into the team. So I think Dwyer would at least get in the short term the starts. I'd probably like to see Cisneros get some more starts later on, as long as assuming Dwyer isn't, holding down the spot at striker, fine. If Dwyer is like contributing, scoring goals, I think he continues to get the starts. I'm also not opposed to seeing like a Jackson Conway or a Tyler Wolf in there. I think Wolf is more so as a winger though. But in terms of just filling Yosef's role, I think Dwyer gets the short-term starts. I think you give Conway some substitute appearances, and if he makes the most of them and starts scoring some goals, I think you start to experiment with giving him some starts and see what happens with that. See what happens there with him. And then in terms of Arujo, I would actually like to see Brooks Lennon go back up to the wing. I know they did that at the start of the season, and I believe they played Ronald Hernandez, I think at right wing back, And then they obviously have Gutman at left wing back. And then they could just push Brooks Lennon up the field, leave Thiago Almada in the middle. And then on the left, you could go with, I don't remember who's playing on the left. I unfortunately think it's Jake Mulroney.
Moreno's out there usually, right?
Well, you were talking about him playing as the number 8.
Well, I think that's one space for him, but I think usually he plays out on the left, and then you go with some combination of Sejdic.
Yeah, I think they go Sejdic and Sosa typically.
Yeah, Sosa.
They have Franco Ibarra too.
Yeah, you guys are okay there. It's going to be and then you've got Almada who's going to play in front of whoever you pick there. So
yeah, so I think midfield wise, they'd still be fine with the 3 of Sejdic, Ibarra, and Sosa. I think they can make that work. And then I would go Moreno on the left, Almada in the middle, and Lennon on the right. Which honestly, I'd still be very happy with those 3. I think that's fantastic for them, and I'd still feel confident in the back line, even with Brooks Lennon push forward. I think Hernandez will be fine, and they have they normally have 3 pretty strong center backs anyway. So, despite all the injuries, I do think the team is still capable of performing on the field.
yeah,
or they should be at least.
Yeah, to build off for me, I believe. I don't know if they're going to finish top, like I predicted, as much as I'd like them to. But I agree with you. I think actually probably still a little higher. I'll go like 2, 3, 4, maybe 3, 4, 5. But I don't think they're going to be knocked out of the playoffs or anything like that. I don't think.
Yeah,
because eventually Josef will come back, or eventually Moreno will get hot, or Almada will continue to perform. And they will still find the success that they need against the teams like the FCCs, the Miamis, the things like that. I would like to see youth over Dom Dwyer. So give me Jackson Conway, give me Tyler Wolf, give me all those types of players, because hook that to my veins. But here's my my crazy one before we can move on to, we'll go to El Trafico after this.
Okay.
Giassi Zardes traded for $500K in GAM to Atlanta to fill that role, because I think, as we talked about, he might not be working out in Columbus too much anymore, and I think it's time for them to cut losses.
Here's the thing. I think he would be a great fit to come in and fill that role temporarily, but I think he would be on a high salary, and he would only be a temporary replacement, because I assume once Josef's back, he goes straight back to the bench again. So, and I wouldn't want them to have to pay his wages, because they would probably have to buy him down, I'm assuming. So they would have to have obviously enough to make the trade for him and then buy down his contract so that they can still fit salary cap rules. And I certainly wouldn't want them to do all that just for someone to be a 6-week replacement and then move to the bench. I mean, I guess it's good insurance in case Josef gets hurt again. But I think that there's enough guys on this team that they can make do with what they have in terms of the striker position.
Well, here's the thing. In 6 weeks, we're going to be into June, right? Just about. At that point, the men's national team is going to be playing in games that matter for World Cup qualifying spots. Giassi needs to play and play well to break into that team. 6 weeks can make or break your trip to a World Cup for what might be his last time.
I would assume it's his last time.
You would think, right? So is this his chance to say, I'm going to go all in, and whatever happens after that happens after that, but I'm going to try my best to make this team.
He's got to push for the trade then. He's got to tell Columbus, like, hey, I need out. Like, this is my last shot at a World Cup. I need to either start ahead of Barry or with Barry, or I need out. And I feel like most likely they would trade him. So I agree with you on that part, but I don't think Atlanta goes in for him. I'm not sure where he would land. I'd have to look into some other teams, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him get traded. I think it's probably for the best for his shot to make the World Cup, because, yeah, I agree with you. I think this is his last shot. least I hope so.
Now, outside of that, can I interest you in a Tom Barlow?
I mean, what do we have to give up? I mean, you should be paying us for that one.
Oh man, I need to watch some of the highlights. I heard he was very bad last week, so
He's been very bad all season.
he
I
usually
mean, he's been very bad for his whole career. Sorry, Tom, but
I'm gonna have him come on and just slander you.
that's fair.
Um,